Alrighty, thank you very much, Dan. Once again, congratulations to PhoneTap. I'm Osmo, and I'm joined with actually the two guys that were defeated by the next two players. We have Reynad versus KitKatz, and Trump, you fell to KitKatz, and Life Coach, you fell to Reynad. So we figured it was a perfect opportunity to bring these guys up here to cast this next match. How you guys doing?
Bad.
Bad? Okay. Fair enough. Trump, you as well?
I'm doing all right. Kind of like PhoneTap said, I'm happy to make it out of the group stage. I would be much happier like on there in PhoneTap's position, but hey.
All right, well, I hope the salt from your last match will seep through in your casting for this next one. And you guys will have to fight it out to see who's going to win, who's going to avenge you. So, Life Coach, I want to get your predictions for this next match between Reynad and KitKatz. Who do you think is going to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything is open. So, I guess whoever has the better nerfs performs better.
Maybe whoever gets the Korkon Elite from their unstable portal?
Perhaps.
Okay. Trump, what about you?
Like Life Coach says, it's pretty open, but I have to say the edge goes with KitKatz because KitKatz has 3 decks that are good against Patron Warrior, and he is more experienced with Patron Warrior than Reynad.
Yeah, that's true. Reynad has sort of been improving his play over the course of the tournament. On the first day that he played, he was a little bit shaky. He looked tired. Took him a little bit to get in his groove. But again, as the tournament progresses, he seems to be getting more comfortable. I hate to say it, but maybe learning more about the decks as he goes. So he's definitely looking strong in this one. KitKatz, he's sort of a known player, but he actually qualified through the Open. He's sort of out of nowhere is what some of the players were saying. And so he's had a little bit of a rough road to get here. Trump, you mentioned that he's got a lineup that's really strong against the Patron Warrior. Did you expect that coming into this tournament? Did you expect a lot of people to be playing Patron Warrior, or do you expect more people to be bringing decks to counter Patron Warrior?
I expected a mix, so some people would bring Patron Warrior because they thought it was strongest. I actually thought it would be more popular than it already was, and I did think that people would also bring counters to it.
Okay. Life Coach, you actually didn't bring Patron Warrior. What do you think of that deck?
Yeah, I mean, actually the same like what Trump said, and also what I said yesterday, that I actually thought that Grim Patron Mania is around at the very moment, so people will actually do stuff to counter Grim Patron Warrior and also bring exactly counter decks. So that actually put me aside like from bringing Patron Warrior myself, and it seemed to be right because people are playing Harrison and even like Oozes. So it's like, I mean, if people are bringing Harrison and Oozes, I can promise you Grim Patron Warrior is not tier 1 any longer. Like.
All right, well, first matchup is going to be Hunter versus Hunter. I think everybody's favorite matchup. Would you guys agree?
Smork, smork.
Smork them down. So far, I've taken the statistics of the Misha Huffer Leok, so I'm excited to see that we'll get to see another animal companion coming out here. So, Reynad's Hunter is we see the Leper Gnome, but his is very mid-range, as you can see with those 2 5-drops. He runs Sludge Belchers, Paladin Shredders, and Lotheb. Is KitKatz's Hunter, is it faster, Trump?
KitKatz's Hunter, I'd say they're about equal speed. They have made fundamental changes to what they have done, though. I think KitKatz is running a very similar Hunter deck to mine. Possibly even the same list, 1 or 2 cards different.
Yeah.
With more Houndmaster focus. I haven't seen Reynad with too many Houndmasters.
All right. Well, Life Coach, what's the key here for the Hunter versus Hunter matchup? Are you just looking to hit those 1-drops?
Yeah, I guess like Hunter versus Hunter is like mainly about tempo. So whoever, like just because of the hero ability, like whoever is ahead actually plays with a hero ability, and whoever is behind actually plays without a hero ability at all. So like
drawn by Reynad.
Yeah, it's really like a pure tempo matchup, and it's super important to pressure your opponent. Once you're ahead, you simply win automatically.
Yeah.
And that Creeper was such a big draw by Reynad because, like Life Coach said, if he doesn't get that 2-drop, he only has to do a hero ability and doesn't he have this Creeper here. And the Creeper is going to be very useful in order to have some amount of board presence.
Yeah, if he missed that 2-drop, like if he had just hero powered on turn 2, that would have been pretty rough.
Throughout the tournament, there have been many instances of a Hunter missing 1 drop somewhere between turn 1 and 4, and that basically snowballing them out of control.
Yeah. Hunter is at, I believe, an exactly 50% win rate across the tournament. So it's, I mean, there's been a lot of mirror matches, so that sort of helps it because there's always 1 winner, 1 loser. but it's been, I believe, the second or third most played deck.
Nice solid deck. Reynad's got a tough choice here. He knows he's up against... Well, he doesn't know 100% that it's freezing trap. But it's explosive.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's not, yeah. So, I wonder whether you would have liked to attack the creeper, like with a weapon, and then clear one of these 1/1?
Yeah. But without knowing what trap it is, it's hard to sort of make that decision. Misha again?
We're on a Misha roll.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, even if you know that, like, even if you're not sure which trap it is, I mean, you would probably attack with a creeper anyways? Or, like, would you check with bow and then... No, I'm not sure. But I think, like, getting this creeper under control is always quite important in the matchup too.
Yeah. And 1 damage a turn can eventually make a difference.
Yeah,
And it's just so tough to remove.
Is pretty sweet. He's got a Knife Juggler, Unleash the Hands to catch up. He's thinking about whether or not to clear Misha. I believe he will.
I mean, it's rather also mainly about the knife juggler with the creeper, like, as you can see now. So, like, the... I mean, verse, like, Reynad could have handled the creeper, like, the turn before. Now there's the creeper, and he cannot handle it any longer. The knife juggler will definitely throw a lot of knives, combined with the hunter's mark. It will just really be tremendous, like, of tremendous effect, for sure.
Yeah.
Reynad might be thinking of a second line. Freezing Trap hero ability, perhaps, because that gets him a bow charge. But that might just be a bit too slow.
Yeah. Obviously, the Paladin Shatter doesn't clear the Misha. So this could get punished by something like Freezing Trap. He could, like, clear off the... Well, I guess he has Unleash the Hound, so he sort of maybe accounted for the fact. That fact.
Right. Reynad's also probably looking forward to Knife Juggler Unleash, so he wants to not trade.
Could you go, like, perhaps... oh, that's interesting, because, like, you could also gone for knife juggler, all the... I mean, perhaps, yeah. Knife juggler, like...
Knife Juggler Hunter's Mark?
No,
Owl,
first owl, because with the hunter's mark, like, if you owl it afterwards, it gets for 3 again. So,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
yeah, so you cannot do that. But actually, this play is pretty like what I had in mind.
Yeah,
I think
KitKatz takes heavy control, but this is exactly what Reynad wants.
Yeah. And these juggles... He does have still 1 charge of the bow left, so the juggles don't have to be too clutch here.
Yeah, he has so many damage. He just wants it to hit as many minions as possible. Doesn't really matter which ones.
Well, he had face
Reynad
twice.
shakes his head.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
2's not too bad for Reynad.
He cleared up all the 1 health creatures, but didn't even put a dent in the rest. Still, though, he's at a life disadvantage, but at quite a significant board advantage now.
Don't tell the hunter what he can and can't do. Poor KitKatz basically only has spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
So if you look at KitKatz's plan, it looks like it's going to be bow hero ability. That's 5 damage next turn, kill command, and...
I just think you just go for
Go
YOLO.
face?
Yeah, just go face with everything. I mean, I don't mind, but I also think it's probably the only chance, right?
He would need an extra turn, actually, because he would have to swing with the bow over 3 turns, and so 2 turns from now, he would need to bow as well.
Right.
And that would be the turn that he would kill command, and he'd only have 7 mana, so he wouldn't be able to weave in a hero power on that turn.
Exactly. The big puzzle of Hunter versus Hunter is just figuring out when do you switch from board control to attacking face. And here I think you guys have identified that it's not quite enough to go for the face this early. KitKatz is just going for it. What he's really hoping for is Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah, I think so. Unleash would be lethal, right? That's pretty good. Oh, would it be?
It'd be 4 plus 5 plus the 3 from the
it's
bow.
lethal, right?
So it'd
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
Exactly.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. By
But-
committing to this play, though, KitKatz is saying, all right, I have 1 card to draw.
Yeah, but otherwise he has 0. So
Yeah, that's
1
true.
is better than 0.
He puts himself, if he starts clearing, though, he puts himself on a longer clock, I suppose, because the Knife Juggler with creatures is going to start doing more damage, and otherwise he would have traded into it. So, or maybe not and just kill commanded it. But that's a lot of damage that you're putting into board clearing. And Life Coach said it, there's one player, the player who's ahead plays with their hero power, and the player that's behind has to sort of clear in the hero power secondary.
Yeah, the way to look at it from KitKatz's world is that if he were to attack the Knife Juggler, he'd be at 15 and facing only 3 damage and then 2 damage from the hero ability. You can count on the Hunter to have something like some amount of damage. So he's probably counting on this not being a difference in like maybe one turn more, but he needed to do the 3 damage to face to have a chance, and that's
Not enough.
No.
3, 6, 9, 11 damage.
Oh, is it 11? Yeah.
He doesn't
Oh,
have
no,
enough
no,
mana to do 11.
Right.
It's 9, right? Yeah.
He's going to have to clear.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a really painful clear. Probably going to start by hoping for a Doomsayer.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah.
So if he takes... He would quick shot the Powder Shredder, hope for Doomsayer.
But
But
then
if he
he gets
doesn't...
1 more damage, right?
Right, the bad
Yeah.
news is he takes the 1 damage attack.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh. That's pretty painful.
I don't even know if that's one of the worst, but it could potentially be one of the worst. Oh, and he has to throw the kill command into the Knife Juggler. Just needs 1 damage.
But
Okay.
now he cannot even
If
top deck
Reynad misses,
anything.
though... Oh, and he missed.
Yeah, but there's nothing, right? Or like 9 damage. 7 mana.
Ooh.
Is there any card like KitKatz could draw?
He's looking for Quick Shot.
Quick shot into something because he has 5 damage from hand. He needs 4.
Yeah, but
So-
there's nothing. Even bow into quick shot,
Yeah.
there's nothing.
Yeah. Because there's no charge creatures. There's like no way he can kill off his own Leper Gnome on the same turn.
And he already... Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
And he already used the other Quick Shot.
Yeah. It's close. And a lot of times the Hunter matchup does come down to you kill your opponent 1 turn before they kill you. Just going to scare him a little bit. All right, Conceit comes out, and Reynad is going to take game number 1, 2 games away from joining Phone Tap in the finals. Going to take his notes. Those actually look like words. He's not just drawing pictures today. Put on his tryhard pants.
An important one, like Reynad said in his interview earlier, he is actually consciously choosing his next deck to play. He's not just randomizing it.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Life Coach? What are the differences between just randomly picking a deck in Conquest and actually putting a lot of thought into it?
Well, actually, like I think it's pretty much random because like if you do the math, it's actually quite random. I mean, one thing to consider is perhaps the information. So the information you get from decks. So what, like I just give a short example. Like if you run like BGHs in your decks and you don't know whether your Warlock opponent is Zoo or Handlock, you probably would like to delay the deck where you have the hardest mulligan decisions to later. So to take a deck where you have easy mulligan decisions first, to scout his Warlock first, and then if you know what it is, then you just can take the other deck.
But this late in the tournament, when you've pretty much seen every card from your opponent, does it matter?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Trump?
It's kind of interesting because some people have the idea, all right, I'm going to lead with my worst deck and I'm going to keep at it because eventually my worst deck is going to win one or it'll actually go into the favorable matchup. Some people just want to play their like best deck.
Yeah.
So a lot of differing opinions, and if you can actually do your research and find out what your opponent's inclined to do, then perhaps you can choose a better deck.
Yeah. But at the end, it all comes down to percentages, it feels. You can track what your opponent does, but if they roll a dice, there's no way that you can...
Exactly. Yeah, I mean what you said. Like if you of course know your opponent has a preference for some specific deck, of course you just pick the counter deck.
All right, well, I believe that was a mage locked in for Reynad.
Yep, against a warrior, the patron warrior from KitKatz. It's going to be a tough one for Reynad.
So this is an interesting matchup. It's sort of the, I guess, token? I don't even want to call it token. It uses the mechanical Yetis, a lot of spare parts with Clockwork Gnomes as well, in the Tempo Mage.
Yep, it's the Flamewaker and Archmage Antonidas love deck.
And this matchup actually comes extremely down to whether the warrior actually draws the weapons or not. So, I mean, yeah, we can see KitKatz deciding. I wouldn't even blame him, like, to really mulligan hard for weapons. Definitely not keeping Cruel or Hellscream. Lootroller, of course, is always debatable. But on the other hand, of course, Mage also has an easy way to dispose Lootroller.
Just with the ping.
Yeah, just with the ping. So I wouldn't blame him for just look for weapons because they are so of incredible importance.
Yeah.
Yep, on Reynad's side, he has to make the decision on whether or not Flamewaker is good enough to keep. And wow, that is a hand.
Oh my goodness.
That's insane.
And Flame Waker, I was actually talking with a lot of players that were sort of refining this deck or innovating this deck. And Flame Waker is almost an auto keep if you have the coin. It's questionable if you don't have coin.
Oh, look at that.
All right, we have a really high-powered matchup. Both players have excellent hands, and the Dread Corsair is a very good card for KitKatz.
Yeah, it's perfect for turn 3, isn't it?
Oh.
Like, you just go turn 3, like getting the other two.
Wow, could these two have any better hands?
Well, we're going to get to see the sort of maximum potential of this deck. This actually does really well against the Fire War Axe because he has to sort of swing over 2 turns to be able to kill it. On turn 2, he cannot play Fire War Axe and Dread Corsair since it costs 1.
That's right. Unfortunately, Fire War Axe is looking like it's going to trade against the humble Mirror Image.
Yeah.
Really cool that Mirror Image has been brought back by this deck.
Well, I guess that was also one of the ideas of the Blizzard guys, right? That, like, Mage is famous for his spells, unfortunately for the bad spells. So, getting some mechanics so all Mage spells gets a little bit better, so much more playable. And I think they succeeded in it, right? I mean, you see all the spells like Arcane Intellect, Mirror Image. Actually, all the spells which were unplayable before suddenly are playable again. So very good job by Blizzard for sure.
I agree with that. Reynad putting up so much pressure. KitKatz has to deal with this. He does have the weapon hands. Some would say that this is a really good draw from Patron Warrior, but it looks like Tempo Mage is just crushing it with this draw.
Yeah, the thing about weapons is you got to take the damage in order to kill the creatures. He's already at 20. And then you have to decide, well, I kill the Mana Worm and take 4 with like Death's Bite, but then I leave the Sorcerer's Apprentice up, which allows him potentially really powerful turn the following turn.
It does. I like that choice though because he does have the Whirlwind or the 1 damage. It was much harder to deal with a 3 health minion than a 2 health one.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Whirlwind will really help to stabilize. I mean, he got like Armor Smith, Cruel, and Whirlwind, so that will be pretty good.
13 on turn 4.
Well, he does have stabilization tools. He's got Armor Smith, which is going to give him some armor this turn. He's going to be able to clear the board here and sort of have a little bit of initiative. Reynad, not really running out of gas, though. He's got some extra draws in his hand with Azure Drake plus the Arcane Intellect.
It's interesting, by the way, that he chooses to trade 1 life of the Armor Smith against 1 health on the face. Like, it's not an obvious choice, I guess.
I agree. Not obvious. I like it though. Ooh, Azure Drake into Azure Drake. What you do want to see when it's late game.
Yeah. Well, late.
Well, actually, that was
It's
probably
turn 5.
When it's
I guess
middle
this
game.
is late game for Tempo Mage because if they draw duds at this stage of the game, it's nearly over. I mean, at this point, he could hope that he draws into Burn, and his opponent's at 12 health, so if he's having to use weapons to try and get through this stuff...
Oh, that Battle Rage is a really big deal. You're going to get some draws here.
Draws and health.
Yes.
It doesn't even have to lose the 2-1 if he wants to. Can use the Inner Rage with the Armor Smith.
You like that? I mean, I guess if you
Or
have patrons, you
save
probably...
the Armor Smith, more importantly. Yeah, I like this lane. And suddenly it looks like Patron Warrior has taken control. Even despite that ridiculous opening by Reynad. Both players had really good openings.
So the options here, he can throw the Armor Smith in and save both Inner Rages for Grim Patrons, assuming his Warsong Commander lives the next turn. That's actually...
A big assumption.
yeah.
But, in fact, it works. It will probably work out, so...
It'll work out.
Will this Flame Waker hit this Warsong? This is actually a really big deal.
It's only 25%. It won't.
Okay.
It's really, like, not likely.
Neither is Cork Elite from an unstable portal.
No, but it's also like I don't
There
like
we go.
I don't like too much like with the taking the 25 because like a single Grim Patron will completely crush you, right? Like even without Inner Rages. But I mean then we also know there are also Inner Rages.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna be a full board of patrons nearly. Because he's gonna bounce these off the Flame Wakers. He's got second Inner Rage. If he's been paying attention, he can say that Reynad does not have Flame Strike, which I believe we haven't seen the full deck, but we've seen a lot of it, and we have not seen a Flame Strike throughout the entire weekend.
Yep, and there you have it. It's a party in here.
A patron party.
Reynad's not invited.
Oh, he'll have his own party later on. He's got Patron Warrior also. He's going to get rid of the charge engines from these, but it's looking pretty rough for him right now. KitKatz was able to gain enough armor to sort of get him out of that range of like the scary things, like double fireball.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be able to put him down to 6 here.
Yeah, that's a pretty good insight. Using Execute did the only 1 damage, but more chances to have the lethal next turn.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that Reynad can even draw that's going to keep him in? He can't even throw damage into enough places to be able to stop all the damage.
Fortunately, not even unstable. Whoa! Not even unstable portal will be good enough for him here most of the time.
Well, what
can we think of? I was thinking
man.
Deathwing, but
he's
doesn't
1
have
mana
enough
short. Yeah. 1 mana short for Deathwing, unfortunately, but
there might just be something out there.
he's like, yeah.
Mirror Image will buy him some time.
Yeah, he's not going to die this turn. I'm a little surprised he isn't playing the portal first. He must be planning to do Scientist, Crossbow. Nah, he would play the portal. Oops.
Whoa! Art Esquire, not that great.
No.
Might actually be harmful, but not in this case.
Sometimes it does more harm than good.
That could be 2 extra patrons if the right card is drawn. Well, no, because he can't go through the mirror images.
Yeah. Frothy Berserker doesn't help too much. So Reynad can just hope for a couple more sort of dud draws.
But I have to say I disagree like with the square anyways, because now you like KitKatz can draw more cards, right? Like you can just proc the Divine Shield, draw additional cards, which is actually quite important for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think the 1 damage might matter for him looking for lethal?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? I mean, the only way how he would have been able to stabilize is that Patron completely goes dry.
Yeah.
And he actually prevented this possibility.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any way he survives through this.
A
Well,
valiant effort.
yeah. Just going to give him as much damage as possible. Throw his damage randomly. All right, KitKatz is going to tie the series up 1-1.
Ooh.
You sort of have to expect that Patron Warrior is going to find a win at some point. So Reynad's been struggling the most with finding wins with his mage throughout the weekend. Unless he gets great draws.
These are all your stats you keep track of, yeah?
Yeah, I know the paper looks a little bit jumbled, but I keep track of a lot of things. Yeah. The most important one, though, is today, 6 Mishas, 1 Huffer, 1 Leok. It's an important statistic to keep note of.
Yeah, I mean, while you're talking about stats earlier, you said Hunter was 50-50, so it was a really important win for KitKatz, first of all. We'll see if Reynad manages to pull that off as well.
So next matchup, what does KitKatz still have remaining? He still has to find a win with the Hunter, and his third deck was... Oh, man. Drawing a blank here.
Oh, Handlock.
Handlock. Okay. So that seems to be a pretty standard lineup. A lot of players were saying that Handlock, Patron Warrior, Hunter was the lineup to bring coming into this tournament.
Yep. KitKatz going for another go.
Actually, it was super important, like for Reynad to get this win with the mage. I mean, because mage is actually quite unfavored against the handlock.
Yeah.
So this would have really changed a lot. Like if the match would have gone like the other way, which we actually anticipated, right? I mean, the first 5 turns it really looked like that the mage would get this game, but KitKatz actually stabilized like in a tremendous performance. Like turn 5, it was just really good and also extremely spot on of him to prepare the whirlwind weapon. Like because at this very turn, at turn 4, he could have also went for the Fury Warwicks and something else, but he actually chose correctly to go for the whirlwind weapon Deathbite, and this actually also enabled him to actually stabilize and thus win the game.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell that Reynad was playing Patron Warrior from that opening hand. Oh, you would. It's an Inner Rage, but to Sludge Belcher and Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, the Sludge Belcher is an interesting choice in Patron Warrior. Trump, what do you think of that inclusion?
It's aimed towards taking down the aggro decks a bit. It's going to be pretty good in this matchup.
Yeah, and also it synergizes a lot, right? With the like sometimes with the charge giver,
The
like
Warsong Commander?
with the Warsong Commander, you charge like the Belcher itself sometimes, and also the slime. Like so, that can really be of some importance too very often. Also, Patron Warrior actually doesn't have any 5 drops.
Hoping for the knife.
This
Misses.
is also really important.
Besides Patron.
Besides Patron,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
not a really genuine 5 drop. Like you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
rarely play him at turn 5.
No low tabs, stuff like that.
Exactly. Fantastic. Okay.
Yep, nice quick draw too. KitKatz showing a lot of familiarity with the deck to immediately do that play.
Also Reynad, right?
Oh, Reynad,
Yeah,
rather.
you can tell from the golden cards. He was saying that during the regular season week that he won, where he was playing Patron Warrior, he realized halfway through the day that he needed to craft the golden patrons.
But actually, I was not successful in crafting the golden patron deck because I'm running like one of these guys, like the priest guys. How are they called? The gnomish inventors.
Yeah.
Like the 2/4 guys. And
Oh yeah, you have to get to high level with priests in order to
yeah,
get
you
the
know
golden.
that? You have to get like, I think, level 57 or 59 with priest. And that was like, I mean, like, no, that was not something I'm gonna do just to get this like one golden gnomish inventor.
Yeah, how many priests have we seen in this tournament?
One.
Just Kalento.
Kalento.
Yep.
And he's sticking to it.
He went 1 and 3 with the deck, so Priest is just stuck at a 25% win rate. This is pretty cool. He's going to be able to charge in the Loot Hoarder in order to draw. He makes his Warsong Commander vulnerable.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He's willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I mean, he's sacrificing his Warsong Commander, that's one of his win conditions. But it got good value, so that's also something you always have to evaluate, whether like the value of the Warsong Commander provided in the current turn is enough to actually decrease like your win conditions.
Yeah. Well, Despite is another activator for Grim Patron.
Yep, Reynad gonna be thinking about, do I do that Despite and start setting up now? Gromish is a good turn to activate it, so he can set it up on turn 7 in theory. So good old Sludge Belcher might be a good choice.
Yeah.
I think Deathbite is fine. I mean, if you play Deathbite, you can also armor up, which is important. And also you should simply set up the Super Grim Patron combo next turn, so I guess definitely a lot of merits to play the Deathbite here.
Yeah, if you want to do the super combo, it costs 8 mana, but you can get 4 patrons. If you do the Despite this turn, Grim Patron, Taskmaster.
I mean, at some turn you have to begin, right? At some turn you have to begin with it, because you cannot give the Hunter infinite time.
This is going to be really... Oh, that is always an explosive trap, but Reynad doesn't know that.
Yeah. That's a really bad hand from KitKatz with both freezing traps drawn and then the mad scientists all in tandem.
I mean, actually, even like the other way around, like Reynad, like if he did the scouting, he will assume that it's probably a freezing. Okay, now it's both
Now-
trapped
yeah.
anyways, but yeah, like perhaps you could have tricked him somehow, because like usually this is like a freezing trap. So
Right, it has a higher chance of being one.
yeah, or like this.
Yeah, that's another reason why it's a bad draw, because now that sort of mystery of what secret it is doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So he couldn't even like mind games him into making inefficient plays. Now he has all the information.
I wonder if he can actually use that explosive trap to his favor. Help to proc Grim Patrons.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how
it doesn't make a
Yeah,
difference.
I think it would just kill all of them anyway. So if he plays Grim Patron and then attacks in with his weapon, it would trigger the explosive trap, and then would the patron spawn before the...
Oh.
No, he'd still get some.
No, but like the wounded patron like gets whirlwinded afterwards, so it should make a difference.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very interesting play.
Oh, absolutely. he wants to deny the weapon charges, right? But then there's Dr. Boo.
Wow.
Okay, that's a pretty silly top deck. I mean, like super silly.
Turn 7, can't really ask for much more than a Dr. Boom.
But also the Dr. Boom is at the same time super protected by the traps, so this will do a lot of work.
And Reynad took so much damage in the early game. He's already sitting at 14 health. No Armor Smith to be able to gain a lot of life with a big turn with Grim Patrons.
Yeah, and also no execute, which would be really of big importance against the Dr. Boom. So,
Also true.
I mean, how is he actually gonna handle the Dr. Boom?
What now?
Well, he'll presumably start by doing the Taskmaster. He wanted to use the Taskmaster to attack a minion so that he could return it to his hand. That is going to allow him to use the Patron's Explosive Trap, because now he has a minion to attack. Huh.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do against the Boom, Dr. Boom?
You might just, Reynad's probably, you currently have no answer, so you have to just count on it or the Ooze blocking Dr. Boom 7 damage.
I mean, you can send the Grom into it. I'm not saying that's good, for sure not. Huh? Well,
Oh yeah, well,
I don't know.
if you're really worried about taking that damage, you can send the Grom into it.
Yeah, but probably not.
Yeah.
That's a possible line, because he can trigger the Grom with the task. Or
Yeah, with the explosive, right? Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
He went face.
very aggressive.
All right, so that's hyper aggressive actually.
He's
Because
done
now
this
he's simply
against
dead. Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 12, 14 of the opponents. Oh!
Double one.
Okay.
No, but it would have been enough anyways. I mean, like,
Yeah, with
by
the
a
apple.
lot. By a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting overkilled by 5, right? Or even more.
Yeah.
No, by 7. So it's really
right.
not close.
Well, he goes super aggressive, and it does not pay off. KitKatz is going to take a 2-1 lead in the series. KitKatz is 1 game away from securing a spot in the finals against Phone Tap. And Reynad is not really a stranger to being behind in this series. There's been a couple series where he's been ahead and has had a couple opportunities to find wins with Mage, but he's not out of it yet. He always looks the same. I wanted to say he looks a little bit defeated, but that's just how he always looks when he's sitting in that booth. All right, so KitKatz only has to find a win left with the handlock. And Reynad has Temple Mage and Grim Patron Warrior left. Those are both pretty good matchups.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I remember right, like, Reynad at least runs like 1 BGH in his Patron Warrior, so
Yeah.
that should make it roughly break even, nearly. But Tempo Mage is definitely unfavored, probably 40%. So, yeah, I guess KitKatz has very good chances here.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think the matchup of Tempo Mage is quite that bad, but 60, somewhere between 50 to 60, we'll go with that.
Yeah. You have a very small window when you're playing Temple Mage to take down a handlock where you have to wait. You have to put enough pressure on early enough to where the Warlock gets to a point where they can't like AoE and wall or AoE and heal on the same turn. And you have to have the burn in that window or else they're just going to lock you out of the game.
Perhaps more importantly, it is really tricky to get a win with Patron Warrior against Handlock, which is the next matchup. Reynad does have that tech of Big Game Hunter, though. It's going to really help in this one.
Reynad said in his winners interview from the quarterfinals, "I hope I don't have to play any more Tempo Mage versus Handlock." So he's gonna have to if he wants to win the series, but he's gonna avoid it until the very last minute. KitKatz repping the ESL shirt. What a
Of
nice
course
guy.
he's nervous. I mean, it's like 1 game before the finals.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so close to it. And, yeah.
He's been pretty humble throughout the tournament. When I was interviewing him, he said he doesn't really know how much of a chance that he has. He qualified at the very last moment in the last chance qualifier, so that open tournament. But he's done well so far, and now he's 1 game away from the finals.
Yeah, he's definitely a super sympathetic guy. Like, really like him. I talked to him in the breaks, and, like, as you said, like, very humble, down to earth. And, yeah, I would really like to see him win.
Good start by KitKatz. Has both fours, and he went first, and he has a Mortal Coil.
Yeah.
Oh, Handlock has such a good start. Look at that. Just like, I mean, he got everything right. So, tap, Mortal Coil, Giant, Drake.
You did. The Patron Warrior's not looking too bad, though, Reynad, with draws
Yeah, but there's Hellfire, so like the Patron combo actually doesn't do anything. Yeah, so actually, yeah, I mean, handlock as much. I mean, there's not even an execute, right? So I would say it's pretty over, but I mean, we will see.
It's up to Reynad's creativity with Patron Warrior to win here. You really have to be creative in this matchup. Like you said, Life Coach, the Grim Patron combo can just get Hellfired, but if he's ambitious enough, maybe there's some way to make the Grim Patron and Battle Rage draw many cards for him.
Yeah.
Usually the handlock is just too fast for you, so in order to get creative, you need like to be at turn 8. But sometimes you just don't get to turn 8, so that's more or less the problem.
Yep, first answer dealt with. Deathspite will take out that Twilight Drake.
In this matchup, Grim Patrons aren't that useful. A lot of times it's not your win condition. You sort of use Grim Patrons to draw with Battle Rage.
Oh, that's
in order to win later on with a big Frothing Berserker turn.
That was actually also an interesting play that he actually chose to play the Sludge Breacher over the Mountain Giant. And okay, I mean, now with the Execute, I mean, of course he has to take cons for Executes, but I always wonder whether it's not just better to just slam your big threats and just hope he doesn't have Execute, simply win on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, KitKatz has... Reynad didn't have the Execute, and KitKatz clearly made a play around Execute, and then Reynad drew it, so KitKatz is going to feel pretty good that his 8-7 doesn't just get executed.
He protected his Drake.
Yeah, but I'm also not sure, like, with the... I mean, it's not like that Grim Patron is under pressure, like, that much under pressure that he does have to use the Execute now, so I'm just wondering, like, whether your Giant usually doesn't get executed anyways, yeah, so you can just probe for it.
So what's the play here?
Is the play? That's
you could
a
even
really
develop
good
Grim
question.
Patrons,
He,
yeah.
he can develop Grim Patrons, but
Just hope that he doesn't have anything.
he can't even Battle Rage this turn. And he does have a lot of cards.
Ooh,
he can take care of the board.
I'm really surprised by the Execute.
Yes, yeah.
He only had a 3 health minion with it. You really need that to kill like something with 8 health.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's doing that in hopes that his patrons don't get answered, but Reynad will not be that lucky today.
He held on to the Whirlwind, which is a very valuable tool to actually win the game. Because one of your main win conditions, of course, is the Frothing Berserker. Big Frothing Berserker, and you need all the Whirlwind effects you're going to be able, you're going to get.
And he used 2 Whirlwind of the effects, and he does only play 4, right? So
yeah,
that's pretty silly. And by the way, like, would you even use Hellfire here? I mean, he could also consider Dark Bombing and Silence. Like, that's the other line of play. I'm not sure whether it's better, but I'm just saying it's definitely a possibility if you don't want to use the Hellfire, because this is your only AoE in your hand. So you could perhaps, yeah, I would even go for the Dark Bomb.
If you feel really ambitious, you can play Mountain Giant Dark Bomb and don't deal with the patrons this turn.
Okay, but then there's a slime which gets eaten for free. But no, you're right. Yeah, he could even do that.
Because he always has the Hellfire to catch back up if something goes wrong.
Yeah, probably you're right.
If only he could sacrifice the 1-2, but he cannot.
I mean, we also have to say that he just saw an Execute going down, so there's definitely a big incentive to simply slam the Mountain Giant on the board.
Yeah.
Or with only 1 Execute left.
Okay, this might be Reynad's chance to draw a bunch of cards with Battle Rage. He can do something like Warsong Commander, Armor Smith? No, that's too much mana.
It's interesting, right? Because now, yeah, I mean, that's 1 Warsong.
Yeah, Warsong Commander, send in the Patron, get another Patron, do an Enrage, do a Whirlwind, draw a bunch of cards. That looks really good.
How much damage can he do?
You might be thinking that that'll be too many cards.
It's usually not enough because of the slots. Like, he will only have like 5 attack slots, and 5 attack slots usually mean you can only deal but you can only deal like 17 damage. So 17 plus the weapon, which is 20. So that's like the damage potential he got.
Alright, he's running out of time. But it looks like he has an idea of the play that he wants to make.
Right, he's going to be able to clear this Giant, he's going to be able to draw a lot of cards. This is a sweet deal.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, Yeah.
But now it pretty comes handy that the Hellfire was preserved for another turn.
Yeah.
All right, Reynad found a way to make his Grim Patrons work for him.
He
on
was
that
just-
Battle Rage.
Yeah, he was just making sure to click all the Grim Patrons just to make sure. His end turn button turned green, but he
And that's
wanted
a
to
good
make
draw,
sure.
the Emperor Thorsan.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't really have many things in his hand right now that do well with the Emperor Thorsan, at least in this matchup, because there's no combo pieces. But, I mean, just having the value of being able to effectively draw 3 innervates, 3.5 innervates next turn,
Yeah,
pretty big deal.
Also quite interesting, like what we could see, like we talked about earlier, like Dark Bombing and Owling, like that it's quite important also to have this, even this second patron under control with the Owl.
Right.
Because otherwise, like, nothing can happen, because he really needs, like, both. He needs Warzone Commander and Grim Patron to do something very big, and he still just didn't have the mana for it.
Yeah.
And getting this, like, letting this one patron active, like, was tremendous. Like, it really had a tremendous effect.
So he could tap double giant Sun Fury this turn. If he does that, he's ignoring the Thorsan, allowing it to potentially get 2 turns of value. Does that even matter?
That does matter. It's very scary.
What are the other options?
Well, the only way to deal with Thorsan is going to be Owl. And if he plays Owl, he's only going to be able to play 1 Molten Giant, which is also not great, so he's going to have to choose one of those options.
Tap is fine. Like, tap into double Molten Taunt, just hope that your opponent doesn't have it. And actually, like, Reynad doesn't have it. So, it's like, probably the line. Like, but it's anyways the line
Yeah.
to go. Like, what should you do?
If he draws into a Whirlwind effect, he could create a Snowball, but then he wouldn't have any for Frothing Berserker.
Alright, the Shadow Flame is a big relaxer for KitKatz because now he can stop some shenanigans.
I mean, it's funny, right? Because there's not even an execute proc. Like, there's nothing which can actually prepare the execute. Okay,
Oh.
now there is.
Whoa. So, Battle Rage again.
Oh, if Reynad had Warsong Commander, I think this would be lethal.
Yeah. So what would you like to do? Patron? Patron Armorsmith, Whirlwind, and draw?
How much do you want to extend?
Well, the good news is about extending is that you're just drawing it all back. The Armorsmiths don't matter that much, so if they're out there giving you draws, that's pretty good. So it might be something like Patron, like Armorsmith, Whirlwind, Battle Rage.
Yeah, I like to go Patron here because you already used 1 Warsong and you don't have any more activation, like not much more activation for the Patron. We've seen like the Inner Rages go down and we have seen the Whirlwinds actually go down, so the Patron, despite looking very strong, is not really strong with the cards being going down. Oh, he...
Right, Reynad's win
Yes.
condition is looking to be exactly the second Warsong Commander and 2 Frothing Berserkers. You will be able to kill off the other giant with the Fiery War Axe and Thorsan.
Yeah, if he chooses to... What?
Or he could just hold.
No, he doesn't have the Fiery Works,
Oh.
right? But
He
he
got
can
it.
simply
Rage is
play Inner Rage and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Reynad, don't fumble.
Okay.
Got it.
Oh, you got it. He also gained an absurd amount of life that turn as well. He's back above 30.
But it's also interesting, like, I mean, in this case, that was for sure correct, but it's also always a consideration to actually take the discount instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a discount of 6, but in this case, he doesn't have combo parts, so in this case, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Anti-Killbot Shadow Flame.
Yeah, and the warrior goes to trillions of life, but that doesn't matter at all. I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, KitKatz played both of his Molten Giants, and that's really, really good, because now he can just heal himself again, like, to a lot of life, because he doesn't rely on these Molten Giants any longer.
Yeah.
That's really of big importance.
Right, and also of big importance is that was Reynad's second execute, so anything that KitKatz taunts now is going to be pretty tough to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many big threats are left? We have 1 Mountain Giant. We have a Twilight Drake. Emperor Thorsan.
And Jaraxxus.
And Jaraxxus, which is just an endless engine of big threats. But Reynad still has a lot of damage. I mean, he can piece together things.
Oh man, was he thinking of playing the Frothing there? What do you think about that, Life Coach?
It's always difficult against handlock. Usually it's a no, but in particular situation it gets a yes. So for example, if both Warzone commanders are out, obviously it's a yes, right? But I mean, now Reynad is actually checking his library and there are 6 cards, and usually, I mean, we know that like KitKatz doesn't have a way to deal with the frozen right away, but I mean, usually handlock simply disposes your frozen berserk, so usually he should simply hold on it. It's his win condition.
Yeah, I think he needs exactly those 2 Frothing Berserkers in order to get him. And of course he's going to have to hold the Death Spy as well. This is a bit hasty.
Yeah, I also think so. Because if you just consider like the amount of damage he could deal like with 1 Warzone commander, it's like simply Warzone commander frozen, 1 Whirlwind, Patron 2, Cruel Taskmaster 2. So it could easily add up to 15 damage, perhaps even 20 damage.
Yeah. Well, he's got a couple ways to deal with this. He's got both Owls in his hand to be able to silence the Frothing Berserker, which...
That is his only answer at the moment, and he'd have to take that. I think he would want to tap first.
So many possibilities.
The answers aren't great right now.
If he taps, then he...
Loses to Grom or what?
Yeah. If he taps, he would have to play... No, yeah. If he taps, I think he just loses to Grom.
Yeah, but I think you lose to Grom anyways. I think no matter how you do it, you just lose to Grom. So you can as well tap.
You can Emperor Thorsan, Sun Fury Protector, and then Owl the Frothing Berserker.
Perhaps you even want to do that. Like,
that's a good way to like survive, but it's not feeling real good. He's gonna take some kind of middle ground where he doesn't have to.
But now actually, I mean...
He made himself so that he can't die this turn, but it's hard to imagine him winning from here.
The thing is, the Death Bite exactly disposes Lothep, right? So, I'm not sure. And it not only disposes exactly Lothep, but also the Owl. It's wrecking his board pretty much.
Oh, I was almost thinking there's no way that he can use that. That was one of his last whirlwind effects.
Well, he knows that there's actually not many taunts left in the deck from KitKatz. He's only got 4 cards left. He's going to have to tap into things. He's actually seen...
Yeah, he should have probably simply tapped last turn, yeah. I mean, he needed an out. He needed something to win with, and now, like, that's pretty much unwinnable now, right? Like, KitKatz cannot...
now?
I guess KitKatz cannot win this from this point.
We've seen 2 of the 3 taunt givers, is that right?
Both Sun Fury Protectors. And we've seen a Sludge Belcher as well, I do believe.
And with that few cards left in hand, KitKatz doesn't have much left to taunt, like you said, no Waltons, and you can't really play a Mountain. And the Twilight Drake is very small now.
Would you, by the way, like to see the Warzone commander here? I mean, I would have not... I mean, there's 1 Hellfire out, 1 Shadow Flame out. I would have not minded to play the Warzone to deal another 3. Both
the risk is not necessary.
Out. Yeah, perhaps.
Mortal Coil's pretty good draw, allows him to get deeper into his deck, take 2 damage off the board. Ancient Watcher, yikes. Without many taunt givers left, he's sort of on just a few draws left. Reynad only has 2 cards left.
Including that one or not?
Well, he didn't say almost out of cards, so...
Oh, okay. 2 cards left. One
2
of them is
cards left.
Grommash.
Yeah.
Maybe we're saying not necessary, but, I mean...
Well, someone just opened Bolvar 4 Dragon.
It's also that he doesn't have too much time.
What now?
Alright, how much does Reynad have here? To get through that most efficiently, probably Taskmaster, so that's that. The Frothing is an extra 3?
Yeah. And then you have to factor in the charge from the Cruel Taskmaster as well.
Ah.
So that's an extra 2 damage, plus the damage from the Cruel Taskmaster that he's going to get. That might be it. I think that is it. 7 damage. Oh no, he needs a...
Is 1 off?
No, that's enough, right? The
Oh,
weapon can attack.
yeah,
It's enough. It's for it's a lot. Like it's a lot overkill. Like 1 overkill.
Alrighty. Reynad found his way through that one. And an unfavorable matchup goes into it and ties up the series 2-2. Another game 5.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah,
we are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm really tensioned.
Yeah. And, I mean, we talked about it. Reynad would have to get through 2 unfavorable matchups in order to make it into the finals, but he got the one that I think was less favorable for him out of the way. A lot of people say that even though Grim Patron Warrior is the strongest, Tempo Mage might have a better shot against Handlock.
I'm not sure about that.
Not sure about that?
Like, especially because of the secrets. Like, one of the biggest strengths of like any secret mage, but also of Tempo Mage, are like the mirror entities. So mirror entity is actually like retrieved by the mad scientist. It gives you like a tempo advantage of simply 1 turn. Like usually, sometimes even more against Druid, sometimes even more. But that's actually about it. And Handlock is like one of the only classes, or like the best class to answer the mirror image, the mirror entity. The Watcher actually simply counterfeits this completely, then which is just like insane. And the Zombie Chow even like gives you an advantage. I don't know like whether KitKatz plays Zombie Chows, but Zombie Chow into mirror entity helps you so much against Tempo Mage.
Right, I've seen very few Zombie Chows. It looks like KitKatz was gearing this towards control, which actually might help this help Reynad out, because Reynad's deck is clearly not going to be a control deck.
No.
All right, well, it all comes down to this. The Tempo Mage of Reynad, a deck that a lot of the players who have come up on this casting desk have said that was the biggest liability of a deck for Reynad if they had to choose one. It's been the one that he's struggled to find wins with the most. And he's going to take on the Handlock from KitKatz. And Handlock is one of the decks so far in this tournament that has maintained the highest win rate. The only other class that has a better win rate than Handlock at this stage is Paladin. And it's such a small sample size from Paladin, only 11 games, that a Warlock at 42 games, I'd say it's probably the most successful deck in the tournament.
What did he... Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting choice to actually keep Mortal Coil and both Dark Bombs. Yeah, because I think in this matchup, like, it's okay, of uttermost importance to get Molten Giants and Small Taunts.
Oh, you would keep Molten Giant in your hand?
As a handlock. Yeah,
Wow.
1000%.
1000%!
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I would not.
Against them or what? Like
Well-
that's what. Yeah, these 2 are the cards like which make you win. Like the Molten Giant and the Sunfury Protector. You play them, you win. Like.
Whoa.
Okay.
The Wii Spell Stopper.
All right. So now the Dark Bomb suddenly, decreased in value.
Yeah.
I like the turn 4 Giant though. Like it's really handy that he comes.
Another thing is, he plays a Clockwork Gnome this turn. It can't get Mortal Coiled.
That's going to be pretty important. Let's see if Reynad positions that Clockwork next to the Wii Spellstopper.
I mean, next turn there's Giant anyways, right? So. Of course he protects Flamewaker from Dark Bomb Mortal Coil.
Yeah, I think Dark Bomb Mortal Coil is... The Flamewaker is a little bit more valuable. You kind of want the Clockwork Gnome to die so you can get the spare part.
No, but like I agree with Trump that you rather want to shield the Clockwork Gnome than the Scientist. Like you actually want the Scientist to die. So...
He can actually just Flame Cannon and trade into it. Maybe even get a couple of... He can ping it as well.
Alright. Arcane Intellect. See what happens.
Yeah.
Or, well, it depends on how lucky Reynad feels.
If he Arcane Intellects and both shots hit face, then he's in a situation where... Okay, this way he can ping regardless.
Okay. Reynad feeling pessimistic goes with that one.
He hasn't really had enough Flamewakers played throughout the course of the tournament to really get a feel for how they treat him. I think in the last game it was sort of even, but he's going to be able to trade the Mad Scientist in here, and we can see that there's actually no Watcher in KitKatz's hand.
Reynad's going to make a tough decision. How much damage does he want to push? Does he want to do an extra 2? He's going to choose not to.
Yeah,
Dodging Molten.
That's correct. Like what he played is, very. I mean, it's not about the dodging Molten, but it's the dodging Molten Shadow Flame. What KitKatz actually exactly have, and I really like the play because you can bring Handlock down to 13. Because you don't have to be afraid of Molten because of the mirror image. But you have to a mirror entity. But you have to be afraid of Molten into Shadow Flame, and that's actually the only thing. And this is where he plays around. So that's actually a really good play.
Exactly. One of the other things that you would be afraid of putting your opponent down to 13 on would be Molten Giant Sun Fury, which KitKatz does have. That's a problem, though.
No, because of the mirror.
Oh,
entity.
that's right.
Yeah, so mirror entity protects you from being Molten Giant.
So many possibilities.
So this is actually a tough turn. Do you think it's just Belcher?
Yes, I guess so.
Because
Yeah,
you
should
don't
be.
really have anything that you can just throw into the mirror entity and then have a good play afterwards that protects you.
It's not bad. I mean, just play the Belcher next turn, you just wrath the board with Molten Giants, and then everything is fine.
So
Yeah.
many possibilities.
You
Whoa.
could also silence this Spell Stopper. And then
Dark Bomb, Mortal Coil,
Dark
the
Bomb, Mortal
Flame
Coil,
Waker.
the Flame Waker. That's the other option, which I don't mind. I mean, it's also definitely possible. But then you eat like how much damage? Then you eat 6 damage. Wow, that's a lot.
Possibilities.
That's a lot.
Huh?
What?
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Did he miss the Dark Bomb?
No, but
there's nothing to Dark Bomb.
Yeah, there's nothing to Dark Bomb.
You can Dark Bomb the... Yeah, I guess so. Looks like he was grabbing for it.
I'm thinking about that, on whether or not it was actually better.
Which one?
So you could yeah, that is good.
Yeah. Okay, well, are there any opportunities for lethal here? He's got 6 damage on the board. Arcane Intellect would distribute 2.
No, there's nothing.
Could he Frostbolt?
No, Arcane Intellect actually doesn't distribute to the. Like,
Oh yeah, he silenced the Flame Waker, that's right.
But no, Reynad will probably play out the second Flame Breaker, and then he's vulnerable to the Shadow Flame. But I don't see like. I mean, he could also not play him probably.
Is he vulnerable to Shadow Flame if he doesn't attack?
If he doesn't attack, he isn't vulnerable.
Yeah,
That's
no.
a tough call to
but
make, though.
it's like- yeah, exactly.
A Flame... What? Someone's getting really lucky on our friends list here. Yeah. So, if he plays Flame Waker and trades in the...
No, I like pinging the owl. I think pinging the owl is the correct play.
Okay.
But I'm saying like the Flame Waker, of course, looks juicy. So it's always like the
Oh, he's going all in here.
yeah.
I think Flame Waker and then trading in one of his guards, like the 2/4,
Would be better, yeah.
and then not doing any damage, because it's really difficult to do Shadow Flame and have a 2 health, 2 mana minion which clears this board.
Well,
Alright. This is KitKatz' big chance to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
Reynad sets himself up for a Fireball
for a
draw
Fireball.
for lethal.
yeah, exactly. So every turn there's the Fireball for lethal. On the other hand, like if KitKatz really makes it only 3 more turns, then it's probably over for the Tempo Mage. Jiraxo comes down and it's over. And he can buy 1 more turn, turn 8 with a Lothap. So actually he only has to survive 2 turns, 2 more turns.
So
Well,
many possibilities.
Can he buy a turn? Because Reynad can ping his face, and oh yeah, he wouldn't have enough mana to play
Yes, exactly.
Fireball.
But now it's simply Shadow Flame, right? I mean, you cannot play anything else.
Yeah.
Well, Defender of Argus is actually a valid play. That's probably what KitKatz is thinking about. But a bit too risky.
Okay.
Leaving the Flame Waker on the board.
He could do something like Sun... No, that's... Oh, he could do Sun Fury Shadow Flame. And then he sends the 2/1 into the Flame Waker. He will then have a taunt against 2 guys.
He's gonna Sun Fury up the
Well
owl.
played.
Whoa. He thinks he's dead.
Yep.
But that's not gonna do it, because he wouldn't have enough mana to ping as well if he Arcane Intellect into a Fireball.
Also, if Reynad actually chooses to Arcane Intellect, he cannot even ping the owl.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
KitKatz thinks he's been defeated.
So probably it's simply Drake and ping. Drake and pinging the owl is the only like actual possible play.
I think like the Yeti wasn't bad.
Arcane Intellect in the Yeti, but then you let the owl online. I'm not sure whether that's.
Whoa.
That's so huge.
That's...
That's like the best draw in the entire deck.
Yeah.
That Lothap guarantees KitKatz will live this turn.
Yeah, so it's only about +1. It's only +1 turn. Oh, it's so tense.
Does he need Fireball right now? Because Jiraxxus is coming out in 2 turns.
So you're saying he could even perhaps think about Arcane Intellect, because he definitely well, next turn he can still play Arcane Intellect into Fireball, right?
Yeah.
And Lethal. So
Yeah. So as long as he either has to Arcane Intellect now or just ping now. He doesn't ping.
it's also in.
Oh,
No. He can do everything
can
next
still
turn. But I'm just saying, like, do you even think Lothar was the correct choice this turn? Like, because next turn there's one more card. Like, KitKatz actually knew that there's no Fireball in the opponent's hand. So by playing Lothar, immediately he prevents 1 draw. But if he would have played Lothar 1 turn later, he could have prevented 2 draws. So I think actually it was a slight misplay, probably to just slam the Lothar right away.
How is it 2 draws? Because if you draw the Fireball on this turn, then you win.
No, sure, but like if you so if you play the Lothar right away, you prevent the top deck of the Fireball. But if you wait with the Lothar, you actually prevent the top deck, like, of all cards to follow, right? Like, it's not that you prevent the Fireball with the Lothar, because even if Reynad would have drawn the Fireball, Lothar doesn't prevent it. You die anyways. You don't prevent the Fireball. So it's just like by delaying the Lothar, you prevent like all the Fireballs he would draw in the following turns.
Yeah.
Which is in this case 4 cards instead 1. Yeah, so it's like 4 times. I mean, we know that it's Arcane Intellect in Reynad's hand, so he could have prevented 4 top decks instead of 1, which is like insane.
We're getting next leveled.
Oh, he doesn't even dispose okay. He doesn't even dispose Sorism, which is really interesting.
Whoa.
And now, wow, it's so wow.
That Arcane Intellect.
It's
Here
all
it
or
comes.
nothing. It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing.
Oh my
It's-
goodness.
Woo. It's all or nothing.
Is Reynad
How much is it? 30% or
as
something?
good
It's
at Hearthstone as he said?
No.
And he got both. And Reynad joins Phone Tap in the grand finals. He got both of them.
You got
That's
both
the
of
funny
them.
thing.
Yeah. He
Wow.
would have had like 2 Fireballs for 9 mana. Like, in hindsight, I mean. But
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I mean, one thing about the play was also like, it was turn 8, so he could have not drawn into Fireball and King Knight. So,
The most minor of plays. Could have
Yeah.
made a big difference there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's huge. Reynad versus Phone Tap in the finals. Reynad had to go into that facing 2 unfavorable matchups. He had to go into handlock with Grim Patron Warrior, then he had to go into handlock with Tempo Mage, and he overcame both of them. That's a pretty impressive feat. Pretty impressive feat.
actually also interesting, like, because Reynad actually chose to play Flamewaker, and I mean, we can say like it also forced like KitKatz to play the Shadow Flame,
Yeah.
which actually slowed him a little bit down, and because of yeah, I mean, I guess actually like a pretty good performance by Reynad. Like, I mean, what we saw, like, he was really spot on and always like played for the win, not only not to lose. So yeah. I mean, he definitely earned this win in the series and being in the finals.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
He did. Those were some fabulous 3-2 semifinals on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to the grand finals. But we do have Frodan standing by on stage with Reynad for a winner's interview.
I'm joined by the second finalist. It's Reynad from Tempo Storm. Reynad, it's been a pretty long journey being able to get to the finals. How do you feel at the moment having to overcome some pretty difficult opponents to get to where you are?
There have been some crazy games. I mean, I finally won a game as Tempo Mage against Handlock. That was nice. But I definitely feel like I got lucky where I needed to for that to happen. And I'm not sure if I played those games as well as I could have, but I feel like I'm proud of like the Patron win against Handlock. I feel like that one was easy to mess up. So yeah, I mean, it worked out and got lucky when I needed to. And yeah, congrats to KitKatz for making it far as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great result for KitKatz. Being able to go top 4 in the field like this is really difficult. So again, our commends to him. But Reynad is the man of the moment. A lot of the pros in the back were watching along with you because it started getting really intense because a lot of them were pegging like really low percentages for both the Patron and the Tempo Mage to win against the Handlock, but he pulled it out barely. So going up against Phone Tap here, how do you feel like your chances are? Again, he is an unknown player, relatively speaking. Do you really know anything about his playstyle at all?
No, I've only really been preparing for like the next match I'm going to play, so I haven't actually gone to watch his games. I don't really know his decks, so I'll try and take a look at that real quick before it starts. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully, if I keep rolling Kor'kron Elites, I'm sure it'll go well. If not, then still a good run anyway.
That's right. It's been a great run so far, and I'm kind of curious. Do you have anything like what are you gonna do if you win, Reynad? Like at this point, this has gotten to the point where like you actually have to have celebrations and whatnot and show positive emotion. Do you have something planned and stored up after all these years?
Well, I mean, I've never been in like a situation where there's something we're celebrating after a Hearthstone event before, but imagine that if I win, I will be drinking, and if I lose, I will drink a lot more.
And that's a perfect way to end the interview. Congratulations, Reynad. You're the second finalist in the ESL Season 2 Finals. We're going to take a break. We've had 6 fantastic matches thus far, but we have one more to go. It's the Grand Finals for $5,000 extra dollars. They're already guaranteed $5,000 and 100 World Championship points. We're going to go to commercial. When we come back, the Grand Finals of Season 2 here at the Legendary Series.